Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Disney Plus Wave Captain America Flight Gear Build-A-Figure, Build-A-Wings. This is the Vision figure. This is the white version of the Vision that Sword put together. They reassembled Vision's corpse and reactivated him using residual chaos magic from Wanda that was left on that Stark Industries drone, I guess. So kind of complicated to explain, but it is the white version of the Vision. It is basically the same figure as this Vision that came out in the Avengers Infinity War 2-pack, which also came out in the Endgame Wave 3, based off of Captain America Civil War, the phasing Vision. It's essentially the same with some differences, and we'll kind of go over what those differences and what the same pieces are in there. You see here we have the WandaVision logo there. We have the Disney Plus logo. It says The Vision, not just Vision, The Vision. Up here at the top, I guess that's the Mind Stone portion thing logo for Vision. That actually looks pretty good. Really like the way that looks. Up here in the top corner, it says Build-A-Figure Captain America Flight Gear. Side artwork, we have the Vision, the white version, and he looks kind of menacing, right? He had no emotion in that version of the Vision, so that's kind of really represented well in that promo art of him. Here we have the whole wave. We already looked at Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. Now we're on Vision. Next will be Loki. Then we'll look at Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent, Baron Zemo, and Sam Wilson, Captain America himself. The bio for the Vision reads, harnessing the power of density manipulation with computer precision, Vision is a hero who defies the very laws of nature. I have to say who because there's actually a typo actually in there, and on the bio it says Vision is a hero whoa defies the very laws of nature. So it's just kind of interesting. So here it is. Finally we could do it, and we can kind of create the ship of Theseus, you know, philosophical moment between the two versions of the Vision. Both are the Vision, both are not the Vision, or however you want to explain it. But let's get him out of the package. Okay, so here's the Vision figure out of the package. Before we get into it, I did pick up the entire wave at Target, so be careful. Depending on the screen that the Target employees are using with their device, some screens show there is a street date of June 1st. There's a set date of May 30th, and one of the screens doesn't actually show any information in terms of that. If you find it on the pegs, you should have no problem going through the checkout. There is no register block, but if they're in the back and you try and ask somebody to get them out of there for you, they likely won't, because they will say street dated, so they can't remove them from the floor. I did go to one store that did that. They said, nope, street dated, we won't do it. Another store said, oh, it's set date, we won't pull it out of the back for you, just won't do it. We wait until it goes out on the floor, which I've talked to Target managers before. They're like, oh, no, if it's a set date, we can still sell it. It's just that's when the planogram goes up. So it just depends on the store. But anyway, here we have the Vision. He comes with a few different accessories. He comes with fists, because out of the package, all he has is kind of the straight open hands there. And then we have fists for both right and left. He comes with these pieces for the wings, which I don't know exactly what these are. According to the back of the box, these are the innermost portions of the wing, so these probably connect to the backpack, and he comes with two pieces there. We'll stick these off to the side and build those all at the end. Then we have the figure for the Vision. Now, it's cool that we got the white version, but there's something about it that just seems a little bit off. But I'm still happy to have this version of the Vision, if that makes sense. I'm pretty biased when it comes to MCU figures. They are my absolute favorite. So regardless of how well executed a figure is or not, I am always going to be pleased. So do keep that in mind when it comes to MCU figures. I will point out some flaws and some things that I may not like, but overall I'm always going to be happy with the figures because I love the MCU so much. So when I get to any character, all characters, whatever character, same character in figure form, I'm going to be happy. But let's zoom in and talk about this figure and see some of the cool things, some of the weird things about the figure. So let's do it. Okay, so first off, the head sculpt is fantastic. It is not the same head sculpt that we got previously. It is a different head sculpt. So again, it is not the same. It is new. One of the two new things of this figure, which is for the rest of it, is essentially just a repaint reuse. So the cape is new, the head sculpt is new. The head sculpt is fantastic. All those molded details in there just came out looking really, really nice. I really, really like it. There's kind of again, it's very similar, so you can kind of see some of the details in here. I know some of the line work is the same, but some of it is different, whereas like this red piece kind of is kind of it bumped out, it's not recessed, where here on the white one it's actually recessed in, so it's kind of opposite there. So it looks very similar, but it is not the same. And one thing, it's not as narrow as the old one. Looks pretty narrow. This one looks a little bit wider. This one looks fantastic. I wish we could actually get this head sculpt for this version of the Vision, because this is damn good. It's a huge improvement over the previous one. I really, really like it. Looks fantastic. Now, that little bit of blue paint on there for that arc reactor or whatever it is in place of the Mind Stone, I'm not sure why it's kind of lined like that. I think in the show, it was more just the triangle. So it's kind of those weird things based off the promo art, I'm sure, of what it looked like, what the original plan may have been, and then changed later on. It doesn't really take away from the head sculpt, but just in terms of accuracy, that's one thing to note. The eyes look pretty good as well, so you can see that there's a little bit of paint and the digital print for the eyes. It's not just like all flat white color or anything in there, but that looks really, really good. The other thing is the cape. So you can see the design of this cape, as I knock him down, is very different from the previous version that we got. So here we have that. Here it is a different shape entirely, and in fact the cape actually rests over his shoulders, whereas the previous Vision figure, they did not rest on his shoulders. So that is kind of a big difference there. This cape is all translucent. I mean, I thought it was going to be more like this cape, how it's semi-translucent, but no, they went the whole thing and they just made this sumbitch clear. It looks pretty good, I guess. It reminds me of like just, you know, those plastic things where like a shower curtain liner, or like over time it just seems like it's going to get yellow, and part of that's probably because when you see through it, you see the figure and some of the yellow portions. That's just a concern of mine over time. How is this going to hold up? It may look kind of a little bit weird. It has a kind of a real rubbery smell to it and feel to it as well. So it is cool, I guess. I would have preferred more of a white color for the cape, but you know, it is what it is. Now, the rest of the figure is the exact same as this figure, except just, you know, different color, of course. So we get all white plastic, but we get some portions of a different color. So this is like an off-white yellowish color, which I think is too dark, I want to say. There was some color variation in the actual TV show. I don't think it was to this much. It was more like eggshell to white, whereas this one they went... God, how would you even describe this weird yellow color? It's kind of weird. I think it's a little too much and it's not quite right. Here on the figure on this hip, they actually painted. It looks like kind of a metallic pearl color, yellowish, which would have been way better if they did these pieces in that color, if they would have painted them as opposed to the molded plastic, because it's just kind of funky looking. Actually, is it paint? Because I'm looking at the ankles now and I'm wondering... Maybe it was painted, because I see some white and then painted into there. I don't know. I get a nice shine off of here of the hip. It just looks like it could be more of a pearlescent paint, whereas the gauntlet pieces just look flat, and the shin guards of the boots just look flat as well. So a little bit of a complaint, because it just looks slightly off, but I get it. They were kind of that color in the show, but again, just kind of weird. So let's zoom out for the articulation now. Now, I think when the first Vision figure actually came out, I was just so excited to get a Vision figure that I kind of ignored some of the problems with the figure itself. He's kind of small, for one. I think he's definitely on the small side. He's a little too narrow. He should be a little bit wider. It's an android body, you know, and they kind of, the suit that they give the actor in his... For whatever reason, his name is escaping me, but Paul Bettany. So I mean, not that he's kind of a skinny guy, but the suit that they give him is really padded. In this figure, it looks just too thin, and there's some weird things. Like I have his arms going out, so it helps make it look a little bit better. But like out of the package, the shoulders end up looking kind of weird. Just some really weird things. Like his hands are super small and narrow and thin. They're very rubbery. as you can see. So it's just kind of weird. But anyway, articulation. So he can look down that much. Oh, that's another thing, that his neck kind of looks to go outward. So in the package, his head looked all weird. So you just kind of have to get it right, but then you can really see the hinge for it to look normal on there. So be aware of that. He can look down, he can look up. So if you get into flight poses, you can do that. It's again, just, you see how the neck starts to point that way. It's just weird, odd choice. Swivel, of course. The arms you can get to go up that high, but then remember the cape is designed to rest over the shoulder, so it just kind of offsets it a little bit. You can get a rotation, but the cape actually kind of gets in the way of that. You have an upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow, which is very solid, as you can see there. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. We have an ab crunch, so he can crunch forward that much, which is pretty good. He can go back quite a bit, but that cape is really going to get in the way and stop that. We do have a waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. My knees are super gummy on mine, just like kind of Wanda ended up being. He can kick forward that much. Upper thigh cut there. You get a double jointed knee like so. There is no boot swivel. Foot hinges all the way down, which is good. We get a little bit of hinge up, but then you hit the shin guard there. Ankle pivot and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And then he's got kind of small feet. So it's not the greatest figure. I just wish he was a little bit bigger. And if that were the case, I think it'd be, you know, a really standout figure. The head sculpt is what really makes this figure, and the design is cool-ish. The yellow really throws it off, but it was really cool to see what they did actually in the show. Okay, and here is Vision next to the white comic Vision. This one was kind of all translucent, and they did like a white spray paint look over it, and I really like the frosted look to the cape, which is what I wish they would have done with this MCU version. But there are two white Visions. Now let's see Vision next to the Vision, the regular version, and the phasing one that we got. So all the Hasbro MCU Vision figures that have released so far. So all of our MCU Vision figures, I do really like the look of it. Again, it's just a little too small. I wish it would have been a little bit bulkier, a little bit more wider. The phasing version I actually thought was a really cool concept, that Hasbro did that for us, and then primarily an Endgame wave. It was all MCU, but they put it as like a Captain America Civil War. So we have officially a Civil War release, an Infinity War release, and now we have a WandaVision release. Which is pretty cool. So I love the head sculpt, so I wish the head sculpt was on that one. It's the same body, so of course you'd be able to swap them. If somebody has some paint skills, they could probably make it look like that. I think it would be fantastic. So maybe we'll get another Vision figure somewhere down the line in the future that would utilize this head sculpt, because that would be amazing. But it is pretty cool. You know, looking at the capes side by side now with this translucent one, it's a cool concept. It's just kind of odd in my opinion. I think it should be, you know, be a little bit more white, but still cool. Okay, so my final thoughts on it. I'm a little disappointed in the mold overall, and that's just over time. You know, it's years old now, but Hasbro could do so much better. So I would like to see a bulkier Vision figure. The cape is growing on me. It's still not the greatest. I would have liked to see a little bit more frosted, a little bit more white to it. The head sculpt is absolutely fantastic. Just Hasbro killed it with this head sculpt. Still very, very good. I think this is going to be, again, one of the more popular figures from the wave. I know that Bro Thor Build-A-Figure wave was kind of hard to get at retail, so I don't know how many people are going to have that version of the Vision. A lot of people missed out on that 2-pack, that Infinity War 2-pack. Even the re-release with GameStop, I think a lot of people missed it. Hasbro didn't really announce it. It just kind of showed up, and then of course GameStop doesn't get a whole lot of quantities or anything like that. So, you know, if you guys don't have this version of the Vision, definitely that one to pick up. But in my opinion, you need both. You have to have both. So there we go. Before we finish, I actually need to show this version of the Vision with Wanda, Scarlet Witch. Okay, and here we have Wanda Maximoff and Jarvis Ultron whatever to be the Vision. So WandaVision, as you can see here, two very good looking figures that go really well together. Although, you know, this figure goes better with that Scarlet Witch than this white version necessarily, but it is a nice touch. Still pretty cool. I'm happy that we're getting these figures for the Disney Plus series. Maybe we'll continue to see figures for future Disney Plus series. We shall see. It sounds like, you know, they want to put a lot of effort, you know, the more merchandise that you can have to help better promote the show. the better. So hopefully we'll still see that. I still really, really, really want an Agatha Harkness. Fingers crossed, Hasbro, if you're listening, give us a Agatha Harkness figure. Make it exclusive somewhere. I don't care. Whatever you have to do. Maybe don't make it exclusive, but maybe make it available, because I think we all want it. So balls in your court, Hasbro. Give us an Agatha Harkness, because we have WandaVision here. They look fantastic, but we're missing one. Give us Agatha Harkness, because it was Agatha all along. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thanks, guys.